Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. Orchids make wonderful presents as they're happy in a home or on your desk at work, though I know many find caring for an orchid difficult, scary or stressful. But I'm going to show you a very simple method for watering your orchids. Step 1 is to gather your orchids, and this method works if you have 1 orchid or 100. Collect them all up in one place, so we don't have to carry water around and risk making a mess. We've rescued many orchids, and following these simple steps will bring even the most neglected back to life. Your orchids are probably similar to mine, where you have the orchid in a fancy pot which doesn't have any holes in the bottom, with the roots and bark contained within another smaller pot which does have holes in the bottom. The orchid roots are often on show and sometimes coming out of the top or the bottom of the pot. This is completely normal. Orchid roots like to be dry, and in the wild most varieties do not grow in the soil. Therefore, we don't water them like normal plants, and them being sat in water or damp soil will quickly kill them. You'll need a jug of water, and if you have it, some orchid mist. I've put a link to the brand I use in the description for if you're interested. Step 2 is actually watering the orchids. What we want to do is soak the orchids so the roots take in as much water as they can and then drain the bark of water so it can dry out again. Take in 1 orchid at a time. Fill up the outer pot with water so the contents of the inner pot are submerged. The roots will then start to soak in water, turn green and expand. And if you have it, give the leaves a spray with an orchid mist, as this will provide the plant with nutrients which it won't otherwise get with water alone. Set an alarm and leave this now for 15 minutes. You may have orchids in only their plastic pots, like we do here. Maybe you're waiting to buy a new pot, or you just like how it looks as it is. If this is the case, find something around the house which you can sit the pot in. Just make sure it's as deep as the orchid pot, and then do the same and fill with water. Step 3 is to drain the water. After the 15 minutes are up, lift the inner pot out of the outer, let the water drain out, and pour the water away. Pop the orchid back in its pot and give it a few more minutes to drain further. This is especially important if your orchid is growing roots out of the bottom of the pot, as they will rot if they're left in water. And then remove any excess water. The last step is to put your orchids back where they were. You should try to water your orchids like this once a week. Pick a day of the week that best suits you and set a reminder so you don't forget. We've got Feeding Fridays in our house where we check and water every houseplant, our hanging baskets and harvest any food from the garden. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, I welcome feedback in the comments and please add your orchid advice for those who are looking to introduce them into their own lives. Do also consider subscribing, it really does help me make the best quality videos I can. I'd also like to thank those who follow the channel. I'm very grateful for all of your lovely comments, and a big welcome goes to Dylan, Vera and Anne who have joined us since the last upload. Lastly, here are a few other videos which you may find interesting. Thank you for watching and happy growing.